is Andrea Ice. Her speech is called Going with the Flow of Life. Andrea Ice.
My name is Andrea Ice, and I'm a new member of Toastmasters, and my speech is called Going with the Flow of Life. I decided on this title because that's where the flow of life got me here today. That's why I'm here, that's why I'm in this area. And it all started with college. You go to college, you graduate. I transferred to Western, and so I went up to Bellingham, and I've never tried so hard in my life to fail. It was miserable. It was an awful, awful experience, and so I didn't know what to do. I was defeated. So I went to my favorite professor, who turned out to be an econ professor, and I said, I need help. What do I do? So he recommended that I go and see the career counselor and take some personality tests to figure out what my strengths might be. I thought this was a good idea, so I did. I met with the counselor, and I took the test, and I went back to her, and we kind of went through the evaluation, and I just happened to mention about this hospitality program that was at WSU. Right away she goes, oh my gosh, that's perfect. That's where you should be. You are a hospitality person for sure. So I applied. And then I also applied to Evergreen, just in case. But thankfully I did get accepted to WSU, and so I spent the next term kind of taking the classes that I needed in order to transfer. So then that fall, I moved back home in December, and I contacted a couple places to live in Pullman, and the day that I was planning on going with my dad to go visit these places, a snowstorm hit. Oh my gosh. So what was I going to do? So I canceled the trip, and I called everybody to let them know I'm not coming, I can't come. The very first place I called was a one-bedroom apartment. So of course he convinced me, well, yes, of course it's a great apartment. Yeah, you should come. You know, this would be the best place for you. So I just went with the flow of life, and I just said, okay, I'll take it without ever having looked at it. So in January, I arrived in Pullman, and the apartment was okay. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. And I took a few classes, and then I actually fell into a class that just changed my life forever. It was a leadership class. And right away, I went from academic probation to honor roll. So a huge difference changing majors made. In one of my classes, I was lucky enough that a recruiter from Alaska had come to kind of get interns to come up to Alaska for hospitality internships. So I applied, and I got accepted. And so that summer, I put all my stuff in the storage, and I moved up to Alaska. I spent the summer just working up in Alaska, meeting new people, flying around Denali, fishing in the Kenai, having a great time. However, I had the same problem again. I was going to return back to Pullman with nowhere to live. So again, but with a little more advice this time, I knew where to search for apartments and places to live. So I started looking online, and I found a house. So I emailed the guy, we were emailing back and forth, and it turned out it was the best place for me. So right after Alaska, I moved back to Pullman, spent the year in an amazing house, and my roommate Kevin was actually the one who introduced me to Toastmasters. That's why I know about this organization, and he was in it, and he was such a great guy. We're still really good friends. So I spent a year in Pullman, and then I decided I was going to end my education abroad. So that summer, again, I moved back home and spent the time in a winery, which was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And then that fall, again, I moved overseas to Switzerland to a hospitality school. Spent a quarter there and met amazing people. I got to learn about different cultures. I got to see beautiful places. It's Switzerland. Everything's beautiful. So I finished my year there, and then again came back home. So after I got home, I started working in a winery again, and then my boyfriend and I broke up. The job wasn't very good, and I didn't know what to do. So my friend, who was living in Australia at the time, she kind of went, well, why don't you move to Australia? Come to Australia. Come live with me. You know, you'll love it. It's great here. You're going to love it. So at first I said, no, I don't think so. And I just traveled, and the circumstance was perfect. So I decided, okay, I'll do this. So I applied for my visa, got it. So then I found a plane ticket for not very not too expensive since it was their off season. And I went to my graduation, I walked, and then a couple weeks later I flew out to Australia. Again, packed up all my stuff and left. So I arrived in Australia. It was great, I loved it. I worked in a famous seafood restaurant. I got to travel all around Australia. And then another flow of life came. The opportunity to work back at the university that I worked at. So of course I went back, and the job didn't work out. I couldn't get the B permit to work. So again, I had to come back after Switzerland. I came back, and I was so sad when I was at the airport. I wasn't crying because I was happy to be home. I cried because I didn't want to be home. So, so of course I kind of figured it out, and I started working around. I started working and meeting new people, and I finally figured out my career, and I've been here for almost 2 years now, so this is a really great experience. So the flow of life has gotten me to where I am at today. Thank you.